Commissioner, I would like to make a statement before we get started here today.
Okay.
And I'm going to go down to the mic now.
Okay. Goody.
I wanted to stand down here so I can look at you all square in the eye. Last Thursday evening, as we were getting ready to leave the office, the Chief of Staff delivered a directive from Commissioner Howard, Shoemaker, and Roush to terminate Lynn Malik, a part-time research and analyst position that I hired, just as Rich hired Kathy, Doug hired Roberta, and Haven hired Clay. It was a shock to Lynn and I, and later Commissioner Rothschild, for none of us were privy to any notion or discussion of such a termination. As a matter of fact, Lynn's position was in the budget we just passed, and the new contract beginning on August 1st, 2013, had just been signed by all parties that very day. This was nothing but a political firing to suppress the minority opinion. Lynn is an excellent employee. She comes in early, leaves late, and accomplishes more in 20 hours than some do in 40. She is conscientious, reliable, and very good in getting information and making contacts with the right people who help provide me and the board with numbers and information that is very helpful to making decisions. Lynn put together the information regarding surpluses in the DOE and other agencies, some of which we will address here today. She found other designated funds carrying large unspent dollars, and most recently, while trying to gather information for me to put together a job description for the new Veterans Services position, discovered that the state might pull their VA support if we hire a Veteran Service Officer. I am very pleased with the work Lynn is doing to gather the information the board needs to make informed decisions for the citizens of Carroll, and in aiding me to find waste and inefficiencies in government. Of course, the board has the authority to terminate any contract, but this action circumvents reasonable procedures. Commissioner Howard orchestrated a discourteous, secretive, dictatorial, heavy-handed attack on the minority. He terminated an employee that was energetic, efficient, and effective in her role to provide facts and figures to help us better serve the taxpayers and citizens of Carroll. This was nothing but a political firing to suppress the minority point of view of anti-tax and anti-big government. This is not the first time the three commissioners have abused their authority to try and bully me into shutting up or backing down. Commissioner Howard tried to stop me from having prayer during my lunch hour in room 07 and inviting other employees on their lunch hour to join me. On another occasion, the commissioners voted to take away the general business practice of getting mileage reimbursement, although I have the largest geographic district and often travel in a way that does not come through Westminster. The policy they imposed on me is more strict than any other employee in the county government. But this action, to terminate without notice the researcher that I utilize the most, is over the top in trying to suppress the minority opinion. It is an inappropriate use of power, and I want to say to the citizens of Carroll County to put this in the back of your mind. This raises a little red flag. The political firing represents the choice to use power and authority over me, a peer and a duly elected official that these three men must work with. And if they will abuse their power to rule over me, make no mistake, they will abuse their power to rule over you. Your bullying tactics will not work with me. I won't shut up, and I will simply work even harder and longer hours to serve the citizens that I was elected to serve. Commissioner Howard, part of your job as the president of the board is to build consensus, to bring unity, to lead us down paths where we have agreement, and to facilitate conversation. And I've seen you do this very well. But lately, your actions have been aimed to divide, and that is not productive for the citizens of our county. I intend to pursue the topic of the reconsideration of Lynn Malik's contract, as well as several procedural policies that should be put in writing, policies that we had agreed to as a board, but that have not necessarily been followed or have been enforced on some and not others. This will be a public discussion because the employee Lynn Malik has nothing to hide or to be ashamed of. Thank you for your time, and now I hope we'll move on with today's subject.
Well,
Any other public comments?
yeah, no, I at the risk of disunity, I think there's probably a couple of incredibly erroneous statements that need to be corrected, and I certainly will take a deep breath and try to do that in a professional manner, because it seems to be the pastime of at least two of my colleagues to attack me. Oh, you missed the attack on a regular basis.
You can watch it on the video.
Well, probably can. And that's fine. That's fine. The simple fact is, first of all, the whole comment that was just made, first of all, is highly inappropriate because it's a personnel matter. It is a
Commissioner Howard,
Okay, I'd like to finish my statement. I didn't interrupt yours.
Commissioner Roush was correct a couple weeks ago when he said, and it's been a precedent, that a couple people have made a comment and then we've moved on with the day. My
I'm not gonna be
suggestion
gaveled
is
quiet.
that
Well, you spoke now.
we have this as an agenda item so that we can really discuss it, because
You're-
there's a lot here to discuss, and we do need to put it on the agenda and have a
Okay,
discussion.
You made a statement, and I'm going to make a statement. And you don't want to be silenced, and I don't want to be silenced. The simple fact is that is the furthest thing from my mind. The furthest thing from my mind, as it related to this matter, was politics.
Sure.
Well, okay, again, I'd like to finish the statement. From a practical standpoint, it's important for people to know that I was the third signature on that form, not the first. And most importantly, that a very similar process, in fact, the exact same process, was used to bring someone into the board when there wasn't even a position. I didn't know that person was even beginning to work here until the day
Again, Mr.
that she
Howard,
started.
this is stuff that we should have in an open discussion where we
Mr.
can
Frazier,
actually
you're not going to
debate.
make accusations and then have me respond. That's ridiculous.
I know, we'll respond next week with 2 hours.
You don't decide when I speak, if I don't decide when you speak. Now, the simple...
Well, I think Commissioner Roush made a good suggestion last time, and that's what the practice that we followed. He said we had a comment, but the appropriate thing to do would be to put it on the agenda so that we can have enough time to actually discuss these things. And this is a big, important topic. It should be put on the agenda, and we should discuss it in an open way when we can all have time, instead of having a rush because we have people sitting here waiting to talk to us about another agenda item.
So we should hear your perspective and nobody else's.
Just like I listened to Rich's and yours, I believe, in the last 2 weeks and was quiet.
Right.
Correct.
Then I want it to be full one. I'll make a statement in this afternoon's session so as not to leave people sitting here, but I will respond this afternoon. All right, we're the afternoon, and as promised, with some time to calm down and reflect, I'm going to take just a couple minutes here to address some of the concerns that were raised by Commissioner Frazier's statement this morning. I want to say that, first of all, that I thought the comments that were made were inappropriate and the accusations were ridiculous. The issue raised this morning is a personnel matter, and as such, public discussion is not appropriate. I will note the position was created and filled without any discussion by the board and by privately obtaining 3 signatures, unbeknownst to myself or to Commissioner Roush. The decision was made by this decision was made by a majority of the board, and I, in fact, was the last of the 3 signatures on the yellow sheet. Most importantly, and I want to make this very clear, I do not make personnel decisions based on politics. I make them based on performance and the best interests of Carroll County. This is frustrating for me because I actually agree with all of my colleagues on most of the major issues we face. I truly believe that our differences and threats to board harmony stem from my unwillingness to accept political grandstanding, violations of policy, attacks on staff and community leaders, and in particular with Commissioner Frazier, a lack of understanding on important issues. Commissioner Frazier, I am only one commissioner with only one vote, and I am not the reason for your inability to get things done. Lastly, I am proud of the board, the work we have done, the budgets we have passed, and the fight we have undertaken to protect our citizens. Each commissioner, every commissioner, has open access to speak, to put items on the agenda, to attend meetings, and to focus on what they believe are our most pressing issues. I believe it is more important to get benefits for our veterans and get them rides to the VA than it is to chase drones. I believe it is more important to challenge the Board of Education to enhance curriculum and embrace celebrating America than it is to audit the fund balance for the 5th time. I believe it is more important to build relationships, encourage staff, and find innovative ways to address the many challenges we face than to tear down, investigate, second-guess, or criticize. This has been and will continue to be my focus, and I remain committed to working with this board to serve the citizens of Carroll County for however long I remain in office.